for finally asking the questions from the board's mouth about the cost of out-of-district students attending Wall. That issue has been raised for years, at least for past 3 years, by Betsy Cross. I know because I've been there, she's never received a response, because what we've been trying to do is see if the cost that we are offering to these out-district students who are coming in comes close to meeting the cost of actually educating the student. And the cost we're using is Dr. Gleason's Department of Education taxpayer guide. And it's very simple math, as you've discovered. I'm just glad to hear a board member echo it, because I think it's a question that I understand underselling the competition. I understand we got to undercut Manasquan and Point Beach to try to get students to come, but we are undercutting them by so many thousands of dollars that it can't possibly be a judicious decision. I don't know that we have to undercut them by $5,000 in order to get that student. And then we also ought to be asking why they can get those students. And we all know why, is because their academic performance and their college acceptance rates and where their graduates go to college exceeds Wall Township. But that's a question for another day. I'd just be glad if we going to make money, because otherwise, as a parent, I begrudge the out-of-district student coming because I am paying the full freight. And if that student's not paying the full freight, I don't want that student to take any time away from my student in the teaching. It's ridiculous. It really does need to be looked at. It's been in effect for years, and I want to thank you for bringing it up. And this evening, Dr. Cram, how are you? I just wanted to make sure, this is sort of a question. I know you are in charge of the investigation, or at least you stated you were in charge of an investigation as to the trailers. So I, like Betsy, was a little surprised to hear you say you were rushing the Department of Education on this. I wanted to ask if you were aware that once those trailers are removed under the district's policy for document retention, you may in fact cause documents pertinent to your investigation to be destroyed at that time, consistent with the removal of the trailers. So I'm not so sure if you understood both your role and how you were undercutting your role by picking up the phone call to rush them along. The second thing is, when I was listening to Brian report on the Oprah responses again, my concern is that we have the fox guarding the chicken house. Somebody else has got to be looking for the documents. The issue that we have and that we keep sending in Oprahs on is the handling of one issue, basically, at this point. It's the trailers, the mishandling of the trailers, both their purchase and the handling of it once that toxins were discovered. And you're sending Brian Smythe to the basement, whether it's proverbial or not, whether it's his office or actually a basement, is irrelevant to me. But you have him looking for the own documents that will inculpate him. It really ought to be delegated to someone else. I would suggest yourself or somebody else go in and look for the responsive documents. We're not getting them. And the fact that he left out 17 pages of responsive documents that the Department of Education provided is a huge red flag in terms of Oprah. Now, the next questions I have are for Brian Smythe. First, as to the budget, last month you stated that the trailer leases were listed along with water and sewer expenses because someone told you to do that and that you didn't do it at random. You must have been directed to do that. My first question is, I want to know who directed you to mischaracterize those payments and put them with water and sewer instead of in the proper category of leases and purchase agreements. Second question, and why would you follow that direction when there is a specific budget category for district leases and purchase agreements, and you had in fact put other lease purchases in the proper category in other years? I went back, I looked, you've properly characterized them before. It's just this big one, this 1.4 million one where money's flying all over the place that we can't trace. And part of it is you're putting it in with water and sewer instead of a category you were very aware of, which is purchase and lease agreements on the budget. So next was also a question for Brian on an email. November 5th, 2019, there was an email that you sent to someone who I don't know who it is, but it looks like it's a Wall municipal or district employee. And you specifically ask him to conceal things at the trailers. And you just produced this under Oprah. First question, what did you direct the recipient to conceal? Who is that recipient? He uses a code name, like a name, like, some boy club thing. I don't know who that is. Two, if your answer to me is that it was a direction to conceal just an open part of the building, I want to point out again that the date of the email was November 5th, 2019. The trailer should have been closed up as of August. So what were you telling him to conceal as of November 5th, 2019? It coincided with the date the dumpsters were placed on site. So I really want to have that identified and who you directed to do it.
Ms. Doran, your time is up.
Oh, can I get my third question out? It's kind of short.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. It concerns capping under the trailers. I just want to know if Brian directed anybody in the district or in the municipal area to cap off any of the utilities at the trailers or under the trailers so far. I want to know if that's been done. And I have questions about that. I'll ask it at the next meeting, but I just want a yes or no. Did he get that work done in advance of the, approval of the removal? And basically why he had someone do it instead of the approved subcontractor per the architectural plan. Thank you.
Thank you.